Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week, and we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars right about halfway through. And you liked it, so we spun it off. We're at 156. If I wanted to get a question in, how would I do that?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out on Instagram asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted, and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
I have a question for you. I'm looking to buy a new SUV, but I'm torn between the BMW X3 and the new Audi Q5. Do you think I should wait for the new Audi Q5? Also, which one is more reliable?
Well, historically, we'll do the reliability first. That's easy. It's the X3. And we are at a major disadvantage with the Q5 because we ran into the head of PR for Canada for Audi. His name is Court Nielsen at the airport. We were going to another brand's event, and he was at the customs or the security lineup. And we said, "Hey, Court, how do we get our hands on a Q5?" And you know what he said? He says, "You got to buy one."
Yeah, which we're not doing.
Which we thought was cheeky/rude.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're not going to be driving a Q5 anytime soon.
No, unfortunately not. We like Audi as a brand.
We used to own one.
Yeah. It's the Q5 is a good all-rounder. I mean, you're talking about, do you buy the new one? Well, the thing is, the new one is just going to give you so much more. The outgoing model is old now, even infotainment system wise. But yes, the BMW X3, if you are really focused on reliability, Consumer Reports gives the Q5 a predicted reliability score of 36 out of 100. And the X3, 76 out of 100.
That's almost twice as much, Andrea.
Yes. JD Power, yes, a better score than Consumer Reports, with a 74 out of 100 for the Q5 and an 84 out of 100 for the BMW.
And just Consumer Reports over the last couple of years has put BMW near the top. So, yeah, if you're concerned about reliability, then I would go for the BMW. The other thing is when you bring out a new model, all new model that they're doing with Audi, that's the 1 year to kind of steer clear because they got to work the bugs out of it. So if it was my money, let's do a 3-2-1, Andrea. Audi Q5, which we're not driving, or the BMW X3. 3-2-1. X3.
Now keep in mind that new X3 has got a lot more plastic to the interior, but it's a wonderful handling vehicle. I mean, BMW did not take that away from the X3. I'm not crazy about the interior and everything being done in the screen, but that's for you to decide for yourself. 3-2-1, what vehicle are you most excited to drive this year?
Okay, I got to think about it. I got to think about what's coming this year.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
I mean, I said it the same last time. We did one of these before.
Okay.
I'm not excited to drive it, but it's the most important car. 3, 2, 1.
Crosstrek hybrid.
RAV4. Hybrid. Well, RAV4. The new RAV4 for me.
Yeah, so the RAV4, I'm not sure we're going to be able to drive it this year. Maybe at the end of the year, maybe at the beginning of next year. But I was thinking more of along the lines of vehicles coming up quickly, and I'm really curious about the Crosstrek hybrid and the Forester hybrid. Both of them have the same powertrain, which is interesting, with a combined 194 horsepower. I think that's going to be fine for the Crosstrek hybrid. I don't know about the Forester hybrid with that same horsepower. It's a larger vehicle, but it's all about how the vehicle is tuned. So I will wait and see on that. And another one I'm excited about is the Honda Passport.
Yeah, Passport's interesting, but for me it all comes down to the number one selling passenger vehicle, take pickup trucks out of it, in the US and Canada is the RAV4. There is a new one going to be shown later this year, and I believe we are going to drive it before the end of the year. So technically it's this year, but yeah, it's going to be a little while longer.
Hello from Kitchener. I'm looking to get a new SUV. Should I get the 2025 Toyota Crown or the 2025 RAV4 Hybrid? I'm currently driving a Subaru Forester, and I'm looking to get great fuel economy and have a comfortable ride.
Okay, so the Crown is new, just came out, right? The Crown Signia,
Yep.
but it is not the latest hybrid system.
No.
That is the fourth generation Toyota Synergy drive. which is fine. It works great, and we love driving it, and our reviews of it have been glowing. And it made our top 10 list of vehicles from last year. However, the new RAV4 hybrid will be on the latest, I would assume, don't know this, but the latest 5th generation hybrid system.
Sounds like though you want to buy a 2025 model. Maybe you don't want to wait until the 2026 model year for the RAV4. There's such a huge difference in price between the two. And it's really going to come down to budget. Obviously, if you're looking at the Signia, you have the budget for it. It is offering a more refined drive than the RAV4 hybrid, and the interior is a lot nicer. I mean, it's very Lexus-like compared to the 2025 RAV4. If you get in both of them, you will be shocked by the difference, but you're also paying for that. The RAV4 hybrid does get a little better fuel economy than the Signia. I have a 2011 Grand Cherokee Hemi, 245,000 kilometers. Did a few fixes to replace parts that wore out, but it's been good otherwise. At what point do you sell your older car and go for something newer?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. A lot of times when people want to sell their car before they get into the replacement cycle of parts, like a alternator and a water pump and a new rad and maybe a transmission service or whatever, they might want to get rid of it before all of those items come up. But it sounds to me that you maybe have gone through that, and after you go through all those main wear items, then you can have a reliable car again for a long period of time. But it really comes down to personal comfort level when you think you want to move on from a car. It's usually when the bills start to stack up, people go, okay, I've had enough of this.
All I've got to say is 245,000 kilometers on this. I think for me, if I was at that point, I'm just going to ride it out. It's a 2011 model. Sounds like it's been really good to you.
Well, that generation of Grand Cherokee was really well done.
Fantastic.
And, if you maintain a car and you keep the rust away, you can drive a car indefinitely. And with a Hemi, I mean, a Hemi is just laboring along really with a car that size.
Yeah, I would keep
Not laboring. It's just lumping along. It's not working hard is what I mean.
I would keep it and wait it out. And if you really get into a lot of issues and a lot of repairs are coming up, then you can trade it in. But I just don't think it's going to be worth a lot. And new cars have gotten really expensive.
The other thing I don't know what your situation is with your family. There might be somebody in your family that could use a good used car. So if you know the history, obviously, of the car for all those years and it has been reliable, maybe it's a good second car, maybe it's a great first car for a niece or nephew, something like that. So if it's been a good car, sometimes I hate to sell it on.
For sure.
Maybe someone in the family could use it. It is a great, that generation of Grand Cherokee is my favorite. The new one I don't like, that one I like.
I gotta say, I'm impressed. That's really good. Why do car manufacturers and reviewers think people want bigger screens, but everyone I talk to wants basic switches and turn knobs back in cars? Reminds me when they kept making TVs bigger and now everyone watches TV on their iPhones, or on their phones. We have a large TV in our home and we quite like it, especially for sports. But
when Canada beat US in hockey.
You know what?
Oh, sorry, I got distracted there.
That's your inside voice, Zach. So, we talk about bigger screens versus smaller screens. For example, we recently reviewed the Mitsubishi Outlander gas model. It got a refresh, and we compared it to the Honda CR-V hybrid or gas model, and then it comes standard with a 9-inch touchscreen, and the Mitsubishi Outlander has a standard 12.3-inch touchscreen. So we like to point those things out. I think that
but that's for you to decide whether that's important to you, right?
Absolutely, and I think actually the biggest issue with these larger screens, and we hear complaints about Subaru and their 11.6-inch touchscreen, is that all the functions are done in the screen. It doesn't have to be the case. Like that Mitsubishi Outlander with the 12.3-inch touchscreen still has knobs and buttons.
So a colleague of ours, Keith Morgan, he sends me these articles all the time. A lot of them are for British newspapers because he's an English guy, lives in Canada. And he sent me one from one of the big papers, and they did a study. They took 3 people and they gave them 3 cars and they had to do 3 functions. I remember one of them was like putting on the heated seats. Another one was putting a simple navigation in, and there was something else they had to figure out in the car. And it was all embedded in the screen. And the fastest one, these people hadn't been in the car before, was like 30 seconds almost to do it. So it does show that screens aren't better. We like a combination of, if you like a big screen for the graphics and it's easy to navigate around for things like your radio, that's good. But I'm all down for have a big screen, but also have lots of buttons.
And if you speak to people who own Mazdas, for example, they really love the fact that they have a dial at the center console. The screen may or may not, depending on the model you have in the trim, become a touchscreen when using wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or wired, depending on the model. But I think that they really love the combination of buttons and knobs, and then that center console dial. And it's kind of the same with the Acura RDX. If Acura with this refreshed model had kept the trackpad but also made the screen a touch screen, I think people would be okay with that.
Yeah, I think that what we're doing is reflecting the differences between brands. So one thing we have to do when we review a car is, how is this car, but also how is it in comparison to its direct competitors? So we pointed out that the CR-V has a much smaller screen as standard equipment. To some people, that's important. So that's for you to decide. We're not preaching that everything should be a big screen. We're just pointing out the differences.
For sure. Do you know when the new Tiguan is going to be released in the U.S.?
Soon, right?
Yes.
Next few months.
Spring, late spring. So I would say sometime in May we should have more details on it. Hoping maybe there's a drive event that we can drive that new Tiguan. We're super excited about it. I think that it looks really good, especially that interior.
To be safe, I would say beginning of summer, just to be safe.
Just to be safe, yeah. Hello from Seattle. Love your show, and I'm glad you are finding some time to enjoy Barcelona. Did we ever? I have a 2023 Santa Fe plug-in hybrid, which I love, and I'm feeling ready to move to a full EV. 321 Ioniq 5 or Mustang Mach-E, and looking into the future, 321 Jeep Recon or Scout Traveler, both which we haven't driven, those two.
Yeah, and the Scout is really just the concept at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
although I have to say I like the look of the Scout more than the Jeep.
Yeah.
But that one is a
okay,
tough
let's
one
do
to
the first
3,
one.
2,
So
1.
it was Mach-E and the other one was?
Ioniq 5.
Ioniq 5.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
I am ready. I have a lot, but before I can do 3, 2, 1, I feel like I have to say, well, if you need this, Ioniq 5 is better.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
we'll
need
do this first. We'll do this
Okay,
first. Which
okay.
one are you? And if you're going to the auto mall and you're going to drive one home, which one can you can go pick it? Which one are you going to pick? 3, 2, 1.
Mach-E.
Mustang. I almost said it. You said Mach-E. Mustang.
Mach-E. I think there's a couple things. First off, the Mach-E just feels more engaging to drive, I feel. But downfalls of the Mach-E include the rear seat that has quite a hump in the middle. So if you are taking 3 across, that would be more challenging. The rear seat isn't as large as the Ioniq 5 either.
I think interior layout, the
Yeah.
Ioniq 5 is really well done.
And I think if you want a really smooth ride and a comfortable drive, the Ioniq 5 will be better than the Mach-E. It's really a personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're giving you our personal preference. And I think that, I think the Mach-E is the one I would want.
Same.
But they're both good choices. And the thing about electrification is that it's often comes down to a head over the heart. You do the spreadsheet of what size battery, how much range, all-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, speed of charge, all of that kind of stuff is this and less about this, unfortunately. And cars have been sold for decades based on your heart and not your head.
Yeah.
But now it's the other way around, and you have to really get all of that analytical stuff figured out first and then decide which one you like.
And some people don't like the large screen in the Mach-E. That can be a deal breaker. They prefer kind of that streamlined look of the Ioniq 5. And then you've also got the 800-volt charging architecture with Hyundai and Kia models. So, I mean, it's just so tough really to decide. But I have to say, when I drove the Mach-E, first off, I love the exterior design of that Mustang. It looks super sporty. And then it was kind of fun to drive for an EV. Between Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, and Honda, whose hybrid systems do you prefer overall if you had to own one?
So say them again: Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, and
Honda.
Honda.
Yeah, they're all a little different.
Well, it's the same thing. You got to qualify it by which one's the most efficient. It's Toyota. Probably which one will have the best resale value. Probably Toyota
Or Honda.
or Honda. But if it just came to drivability and ease of use, I would say probably the Koreans and Honda.
Yeah, I mean, first off, when you look at Hyundai with the Tucson hybrid or Kia Sportage hybrid, they're so quiet. Like, these vehicles are the quietest hybrids I think I've ever been in. Also, that hybrid system has a 6-speed automatic transmission and also H-Track all-wheel drive, whereas Toyota has an ECVT and electronic all-wheel drive system where the rear motor is,
the rear electric motor.
the electric motor is driving the rear wheels.
And at higher speeds, it doesn't go on. Can't remember what the number is. We got to figure that out. We got to find out what that speed is.
We will find out from Toyota.
But
yes.
once you get to a certain speed, it's just front wheel drive.
Yes.
But that's often the case with the compact SUVs, period. For example, if you just got a regular CRV or a regular RAV4 gas, when you're driving at steady speeds on the highway, it disconnects the rear wheels.
Yeah.
You're not disconnecting. You're not sending power to the rear wheels. You're just running the front wheels for more efficiency. So that's the game they're playing there. But then it comes into resale and quality, and that's where Toyota comes up aces, right?
Toyota comes up aces, and if you're really driven by fuel economy, then the RAV4 is your best bet. The Honda CR-V hybrid doesn't get as great fuel economy. I would say it's probably equivalent to the Korean twins. And the CR-V, I would say, would be second to those Korean twins for quietness of the cabin. And it does feel quite refined when you're driving that CR-V hybrid.
Andrea, is this turning into the all hybrid show today?
I
think this is
know.
like our third or fourth question on hybrids.
I know, but
what's going on?
But I think people want hybrids. They
Do you
love
think-
them. They're
Do you
easy.
think they want hybrids, Andrea?
They're easy.
It's interesting with rebates going away in Canada, rebates going away in Quebec, taking away the tax credit is what they're saying in the United States. There's even more interest in hybrids now.
Even more interest. So I think it really comes down to what you like. We've got a friend who is interested in a whole bunch of hybrids, and I kind of broke it all down for her between these three or four companies. Hyundai and Kia are separate. And she ended up deciding, based on the information that I gave her, on the Honda CR-V hybrid.
It's a good
It's what
choice,
they
but
wanted.
it's expensive.
It's expensive, but everything is kind of getting up to that price, it seems.
We're living
But it
in
is still pricey.
inflationary times. Are we going to do one more?
Yes, we'll do one more. I live in Nova Scotia and drive a 2021 CX-9. We'd like to get a hybrid three-row SUV, preferably a plug-in. That is also a bit more capable off-road as the family enjoys going backcountry for camping and fishing. As far as I can tell, there's nothing available in Canada that checks those boxes. The Toyota 4Runner with the third row only comes with the gas engine, and the Honda Pilot Trail Sport and Hyundai Santa Fe XRT would be excellent options, but they don't have hybrid options. At this point, I'm thinking of just getting the CX-90 plug-in hybrid and getting smaller wheels and beefier tires.
You could also get a Jeep Wrangler 4xe. Wouldn't be my choice. I'm just saying that's an option out there. But you're right. If you want to have a plug-in and you want to have it kind of off-roady, none of these are really going to be off-roady anyway, but you're probably are best served to get an all-terrain tire and a smaller wheel, and then your CX-90 plug-in hybrid will be able to do some light gravel roads. I wouldn't be doing any big stuff with it.
No, and then there's also the Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid, but you're looking for that third row. So that really is a tricky one for you for sure. The CX-90 plug-in hybrid doesn't get great reliability scores from Consumer Reports, so keep that in mind. It is a newer model, but yeah, I mean, I still think it'll be fine. Gravel road, and then you've got
Listen, you just keep your CX-9.
Yeah, that's what I would
and
do.
then wait for more options to come up, because there will be more options in the future. You could do, there's no Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid, but yeah.
No, there is a Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid, but it doesn't have the third row.
Sorry, I was thinking of Grand Highlander. The Grands, I'm getting confused with the Grands, Andrea.
How about the TX? But that's not really a rugged,
the TX.
One either.
But the TX plug-in hybrid isn't even for sale yet in Canada.
And actually, it doesn't look like Toyota is bringing that, or Lexus is bringing that TX plug-in hybrid to market next year. That's what we're hearing. The U.S. does have it.
Yeah, but back to your point that you made a moment ago, you could get, if you were lucky, to get a Toyota 4Runner hybrid. And you can get the third row of seats, and that will take you off-road.
No, only the gas model gets the third row, right?
Geez.
The hybrid
It's too much to unbox, Andrea. It's the old head and the heart again. What do I want? I want this. Can you get it? No, because it doesn't have this, and this doesn't have that.
No.
That's the problem with the auto industry. There is no perfect car.
There isn't. So maybe
there is no part. Well, there is. It's called the 911 GT3 Touring, but
that's different than what you're looking at for a third row. I don't think you have a lot of options. You're right. I mean, you've made that clear in the question. So either get the CX-90 plug-in hybrid or keep your CX-9 2021 model.
Listen, the CX-9 is 4 years old? Just drive it.
Yeah.
Drive it and enjoy it. All right, Andrea, we is done. We are all out of time.
Done. If you want to get a question in, follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather those questions, the post is deleted and we start the show. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.